Day 810 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. Alright, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 263, ugly number. The difficulty level is easy, but don't worry because you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go on and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. An ugly number is a positive integer which does not have a prime factor other than 2, 3, and 5. Given the integer n, return true if n is an ugly number. Alright, y'all, so that may seem a little bit confusing at first, so let's go ahead and take a look at these examples just to make sure that we are doing this problem correctly. So, in example 1, we have our input n equals 6. The output is true. It says 6 equals 2 times 3. So the prime factors here are 2 and 3. So that makes it an ugly number because it does not have any other prime factors. It does not have any other prime factor or any other factors at all besides 2, 3, and 5. Boom. So now let's take a look at example 2. So in example 2, our input n, input n equals true. Our input n equals 1, our output equals true. The explanation says 1 has no prime factors. So since 1 has no prime factors, that counts. Now let's take a look at example 3. So in example 3, our input n equals 14, output is false. Explanation says 14 is not ugly since it includes the prime factor 7. So in this case, the prime factor 7 is not one of these numbers right here, right? So since 7 is not 2, 3, or 5, the output is false, y'all. So boom. I hope that makes sense to y'all. One more thing. So if n has a factor, anything other than 2, 3, and 5, then it's not an ugly number and we return false. Boom. Unless it has no factors like example 2. So boom, y'all. I hope that makes sense. And now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. The solution is not that difficult at all. So let's get into it. Now, first thing, ugly numbers must be positive. So 0 and negative numbers are not considered ugly. So we could just say if n is less than or equal to 0, we could just open up the brackets and return false right away. Boom. Then we need to make a mutable copy of the input since we'll repeatedly divide it. So we're going to declare a variable called num, and we'll set that equal to n. Boom. Now we're going to continue reducing the number until it becomes 1. So we're going to say while num exclamation point equals 1. So while num does not equal 1, if it's divisible by 2, we're going to remove one factor of 2. So we're going to say if num mod 2 equals 0. What this mod sign means if the remainder is 2. So if we divide num by 2 and the remainder is 0, then we know it's divisible, or then we're going to say num divided by equals 2. Boom. Now otherwise, if it's divisible by 3, we're going to remove one factor of 3. So we'll come right here and we'll say else, and then we'll open up the brackets and we'll say else if num mod 3 equals 3, meaning it's divisible by 3, then we'll say num divided by equals 3. Boom. Otherwise, if divisible by 5, we're going to remove one factor of 5. So we'll come right here and we'll say else if num mod 5 equals 0. Then we'll open up the brackets and we'll say num divided by equals 5. Boom. If the number isn't divisible by 2, 3, or 5, then it contains another prime factor, so it's not an ugly number. And we could just come right here and we could say else. We'll open up the brackets and we'll return false. But we're not done yet, because if we've successfully divided away all factors until the number becomes 1, then its only prime factors were 2, 3, and 5. So we need to come right here, all the way down here outside of the while loop, and say return True, y'all. Boom. Let's go ahead and give this a run. Make sure it runs properly before we submit it. And we need equal white space, so let's run that again. It's accepted, so let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it's still accepted after we submit it. Boom, and look at that, y'all. 3 milliseconds beats -% of users. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'd like to see, y'all. So with that being said, y'all, make sure you get one more look at the code. This is the whole code right here, y'all. And with that being said, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.